Hello everybody and welcome back to the Best Ride in Planet Coaster Tournament. Last episode we saw Overpower, Overthrow Hellion Ring, Iron Claw, Claw Monteleone. I'm running out of runs for Iron Claw, okay? And the Sky Ace Fly to the win over Teacups. Oh god, is that what I really wrote? This episode we have Whirly Rig versus the Aeronauts, Bumpin Derby versus Victory, and Star Wheel versus Tri-Storm. Let's start off the day by looking at the stats of the first match. This is definitely going to be a challenge for the Whirly Rig. The only ride we've seen with a lower excitement rating was the Big Wheel. However, Whirly Rig also has the lowest nausea we've seen, being the first ride to have it below 1. The Aeronauts is overall a pretty average ride, except for the excitement, which is still low but plenty higher than Whirly Rig. Let's get into round 1. Match 17, Whirly Rig versus the Aeronauts. Now, I think I know who's going to win this. However, the Whirligig has an amazing song. So it might be able to win this with the song alone. Let me just make sure everything's set here good. Four eyes are open. Set to 0. The park is open. Here we go. Round 1. Begin. I always forget something now. I don't know if it's because I have to do so much extra stuff now, but I always forget to... Oh my, what is happening? Why are so many people heading for... Okay, that's more like it. Although, Whirly Rig does have a lot more guests than I thought it would. But listen to the song. Nah, it's better sped up. It's a great song. Yeah, it's looking like the Aeronauts, though, are now taking the lead. We're at 314 guests in the park. I can't see this hitting 500, but, poor Whirligig. Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be kind of one-sided. It is doing better than I thought it would. It's not doing awful, but it's not doing great either. Seeming the Aeronauts has more than double that queue line. Honestly, I could probably call it right now. But we'll just wait for these remaining few guests to enter the park. Pretty quick round. This whole episode's gonna be strange, but we'll worry about that when we get to those matches. Yeah, I feel like this one's gonna be pretty one-sided. I can call this one here. The Aeronauts wins round 1. Whirligig had a strong start, so possibly if it just has a strong start the entire time, maybe it can get a win here. But I highly doubt it. And then just to prove to you that the times are 0 and that the guests aren't complaining about the long queue time, because there is no queue time, there you go. Alright, Whirligig loses round 1. The Aeronauts wins it. On to round 2. Here we go, round 2. Whirligig versus the Aeronauts. Tickets, 500. Park, open. And round 2 begins now. First group of guests, and they split. It's right off the start. It always seems pretty close, but then shortly after, it's fascinating how that happens. But this can also change, because then we might get a group heading, or a lot more heading for Whirly Rig. Is it Whirly Rig? Have I been saying Whirly? It's Whirly Rig. I've been saying this thing wrong the whole time. It's the Whirly Rig, not the Whirly Gig. Because rig, like rigging of a ship. Get it? It's a sea pun. Get it? And I've been calling it the Whirligig this whole time. Well, I'm the worst. I'm the worst commentator for Planet Coaster. The Best Ride in Planet Coaster Tournament. I am the worst commentator, hands down. Although, since I'm the only commentator, I'm also the best one, so... You really just gotta deal with it. Oh, man. Next thing you know, I'm gonna call this guy, like, Captain Hamburger. Oh, wait, his name's Chief Beef. I've been calling him Captain Hamburger this whole time. Oh, no. This round is looking closer than the previous one. However, closer isn't close enough. Whirly Rig is still lacking severely in the queue line department, while the Aeronauts looks like it's gonna fly to victory. I've already used that one. Can I reuse these puns at the start of these videos, or are you guys are gonna yell at me if I do that? It's just how many puns with hot air balloons can you come up with? Or better yet, something like the Iron Claw. How many puns with the Iron Claw can you come up with? Anyway, I'm calling this one here. Aeronauts wins it in 2 rounds and moves on to the tournament. Next up, we have Bumpin Derby versus Victory. Let's look at the stats. Possibly one of the most surprising stats of any ride in this game is Victory. It is bad. It has the 4th worst excitement we've seen so far. The only ones worse are Whirly Rig, Ferris Wheel or Big Wheel, and then the magical flying farting witch lady ride, whatever one that one was called. With that excitement, it also has a nausea of 3.02, which nausea to excitement ratio is bad. It's a bad ride. Seeing the ride, I personally would think the stats would just be better. The fact that Bumpin Derby has a higher excitement just feels kind of wrong. Let's get into the match to see if Victory can overcome its faults and claim victory. Match 18, Bumpin Derby versus Victory. Now, this round is gonna have to go a little bit differently than the previous rounds because of the Bumpin Derby. This ride doesn't work like the other rides in terms of freezing the queue lines. So, when we uncheck minimum wait time on both these rides, usually what happens is the guests get stuck in the queue line, and since there's no minimum wait time and we have any load selected, it just goes instantly, and the guests can't get on the ride. That's not the same case for Bumpin Derby. The guests will get on the ride regardless. So, what I did before was I tested to see how many guests these 2 rides will bring in, and it was around 350. So it was a little more than that, but just so I know that we're always going to hit the number, we're only going to have the park open to 350 guests. And then with that, we're going to have these things running the entire time. It didn't appear that the queue line was an issue, the length for either rides, when I did that quick little test to see how many guests they pull in. So we don't have to worry about the queue times. I don't think we will be monitoring it, though, just in case, because if it is a problem, I'll have to let guests in little by little to avoid that problem. So, with that being said, here we go. This is gonna be weird. I hope it all works, and we shall see. So right off the start, both these rides are gonna have a 0 queue time, but then when the guests start to enter the queue lines, it will be a problem. But like I said, I'm pretty sure that the guests didn't care. Like, the queue times were super short for both, so they didn't mind it. Here we go. Before we do this, real quick, I have to write down the number of guests that we did, or that we set the queue lines to 0 with. We didn't even need to set the queue lines to 0 with these 2 rides, though, because, like I said, it doesn't really matter, seeming we have to run them anyway. Hold on, I gotta find a piece of paper. There's a piece of paper. Bumpin'. Ah, God, I just drew on my leg. Bumpin Derbo has 5. And then Victory has 5. Okay, good. Everyone's even. Alright. With all that being said, with everything written down, with the guest number set to 350. It's 350, right? Let me just. Okay, yep. Here we go. Let round 1 begin. Now, if you remember from the previous video, I keep on saying previous video, but the video where I tested all the rides against each other, Victory was one of the worst ones. And I'm pretty sure Bumpin Derby wasn't that great either, because it's kind of a boring ride, but we couldn't tell because the guests kept on getting on it. So, oh no! Victory! You had one job! Get rid of Bumpin Derby so we don't have to do this every single round Bumpin Derby's in. Holy crap. This is how bad the swinging ship ride is in this video game. It's losing to freaking bumper cars. Look at them all go. This is a problem. Now you might be saying, oh, there's a lot less people, you know. Yeah, that the capacity is a lot less on the bumper cars compared to the swinging ships. Still, you saw how many people were on that queue line before anyone was on either of these rides. So yeah, a lot more people just got off this, but looking at these, 44 as opposed to 36. That's not that much of a difference compared to the size of these queue lines. So Bumpin Derby's now at 67, while the swinging ship's now at 84. Oh, it's gonna be close. We almost have the exact number of guests in the park. Oh, I can't believe this. I'm Bumpin' Derby's gonna win it. Oh, then we're gonna have to do this again. Although it's not that bad with this, with like the amount of guests we have in the park. It's a low number, so it's not awful. Oh man, Bumpin' Derby is still trailing behind Victory. However, it's super close, and Bumpin' Derby does have a longer queue line. We're at 351 guests in the park. Will it be enough? Will this be enough to hold the lead over Bumpin' Derby? I don't think so. It's going to be so close. This is the worst part about having any queue line number. Full loads don't normally happen. So it gets to about halfway full, and then the ride just goes. So we have to wait longer, but that's how it works. 147 total guests for Victory. 125 for Bumpin' Derby. Since those numbers started out even, we really don't have to worry about it. But, I'll do the subtraction. Alright, the final guests are getting on Victory. So we could technically figure out which is the winner right now. Let me get the old calculator. Wait, do I? Yeah, I do need the calculator. So, if Victory has 175 or more, it will win. 168 minus the 5. It has 163. So, 163, or, hold on. 351 minus 163 means Bumpin' Derby should have, hold on, 193 minus the 5, 188 when it's done. Wait, no, it's going to have 193 when it's done. Yeah, and then, okay, yeah, 188, which equals the 351. So as soon as these guys get on, just to prove to you, it's going to be 100. Well, you can just do the math. 193, yeah. So watch. When it starts up, wait for it. Wait for it. Go. Do it. Start. Come on. Hurry. We got 193, told you. So, with that, Bumpin' Derby takes round 1. God, Victory is such a bad ride. It's awful. Those stats. This is so bad. They're super close rides, though. But Victory's it's such a bad ride. All right, here we go. Round 2. Will Victory be able to take this one from Bumpin' Derby to hold on there and force round 3? It was kind of close. It wasn't too much of a lead, but who knows. Here we go. Round 2 begins now. Let me just make sure everything's still good here. Prices and times are all correct. Yes. I did forget to check last round, see if the guests were complaining. I'm pretty sure they weren't, but we can always check this round. Right away. It is looking better for Victory this time round as a giant group gets into Bumpin' Derby. Oh, man. It is looking closer. But will it be close enough? Let's check these queue times. I'm thinking around... Okay, it's at 5 minutes now. It's not bad. 0 minutes still for Victory. Although... Yeah, Victory should change with the next... Yeah, it's at 1 minute now. Okay. 6 minutes for Bumpin' Derby. And the people are saying nothing about the queue times, which is good. It's a much closer map this time around. Map? Match. Oh boy. 37 for Bumpin' Derby. 77 for Victory. And those queue lines are a lot closer. I feel like we're going to get around 3 here. 68 for Bumpin' Derby. Nah, maybe not. Bumpin' Derbies did jump up a bunch there. We're at 343 guests in the park. 346. We'll wait on the last group to enter. The last few have picked Victory. And then the last two... no, she's getting... What? Really, lady? Why did you come here? Get out! Unbelievable. And then we get a group. 251 into Bumpin' Derby. See, I feel like just about any other ride would beat Bumpin' Derby. But since it went up against Victory, one of the worst rides in this game. I knew that going in. It's gonna move on. Watch, it's going to. 97 total guests have ridden Bumpin' Derby. Or oh, it jumped up to 128, aka 123, minus those 5 initial ones. And 149 for Victory, or really 144. Simple math. All right, the remaining ones have gone on Victory. 178. Are you kidding me? That is just barely enough to push it over. Wait, is it? Hold on. No, it might not be because we have to subtract those 5. Okay. We have 353 guests in the park. Bumpin' Derby had 178 minus the 5, so that's 173. So 353 minus the 173 is 180, which means Bumpin' Derby ends up winning by 7 here. And it's going to have 185 total rides. There you go. And then you subtract those 5s, 180. So, 180 plus 173 equals 353. And Bumpin' Derby wins by 7 this round, and then moves on in the tournament. Victory. It's just hilarious how this ride is called Victory, because it is so bad. And then while I'm at it, okay, no one's complaining about ride times the entire time, which is good. And there you go. Bumpin' Derby, whoever it faces in the next round, I guess it will be the Aeronauts. I'm feeling the Aeronauts is going to win it. But, yeah, we're going to have to do this weird thing for that one as well. But until then, Bumpin' Derby is victor. And with that, Bumpin' Derby moves on in the tournament. Now for our last match of the day, Starwheel versus Tri-Storm. Both of these rides are pretty close in stats. Tri-Storm has a slightly higher excitement and fear, while Starwheel has a higher nausea. Nothing much more to say than that. Let's get right into the match and see which ride will succeed. Alright, match 18, Starwheel versus Tri-Storm. Now we know Tri-Storm is a pretty good ride, based on the previous round. Starwheel, I don't remember being that great, although the stats aren't that far off. So it should be an interesting one. The rides are ready, the park is ready and open. Here we go. Round 1 begins now. First family, or group, I guess. I don't know if they're all related. They might just be friends. Goes to the Starwheel. And no one else is entering the... Wow, that was a really long delay. Make me feel like that I didn't set that to 500 when I know I did, because I literally just checked it. A decent group of people start to go into the Starwheel, and then it switches over to Tri-Storm. Back to Starwheel. And now it's evened out a bit. Very interesting. Now, this is a ride I probably would never ride. I mean, the outside cars, maybe. But those inside ones, especially right here, look how close they are. No one's getting on it. Okay, good. Like, I'm pretty sure physics says there's no way they can collide. But I don't know, some of these areas, I feel like right here as well, even though it's clearly not a problem, it just, I feel like if you get somebody with the right weight ratios, maybe you can send it a little farther than you wanted to. And even down here, how it's swinging like that much. Yeah, I don't write this right here. If you get someone who's big enough in there, you can have extra momentum and slide that bad boy right up into the bottom of that thing. And, nope. Or a windy day. Imagine, wind could definitely cause that. Yeah, I don't think I could ride that thing. I'm fine with a normal Ferris wheel. But ones that has cars that, you know, might collide into my car, that's a problem. Star Wheel does have a surprising number of people in the queue line. I didn't think it was going to do this well. There you go. I thought it was one of the worst rides from that, testing them all together. But, you know, it could have been the positioning of it, because that did play a factor in that series, so... Or that one video where we figured out how to do this fairly. But it looks like TriStorm is going to take round 1 here. 457 guests in the park. And it's looking like there's no way Star Wheel is going to come back here. See, why couldn't Star Wheel go up against Bumpin' Derby? And Victory go up against TriStorm? That would have been great. TriStorm would have won it because Victory is awful, and I'm really feeling Star Wheel could have beaten Bumpin' Derby. But, you know, it's a randomly generated bracket. That's how I keep it fair. I didn't pick any ride versus any ride. And, here we are. We have to deal with Bumpin' Derby in the next leg of the brackets, or next leg of the tournament. Well, I think it's safe to say TriStorm wins round 1 here. Will Star Wheel be able to overcome this deficit in the next round? Let's find out. Okay, here we go. Round 2, Star Wheel versus TriStorm begins now. Gotta check this. Okay, 500. And the park isn't... Amazing. I knew I would. Here we go. You know, I wonder, have I ever entered the park in any of these competitions? I wonder. I'm the guy who looks like a carrot. And I should be by myself because I don't have any friends. Sad truth. Which ride am I gonna pick? I think typically, you know, your guest does enter near the start. I haven't been paying that much attention, though, in these rounds. I've been too focused on the rides. Not who enters. Shut up, phone! Not who enters the park. Remember, look for Carrot Guy. That's me. Orange pants. Orange shirt. Green hair. There I am! It's so lit, and I'm going to TriStorm! Clearly, I'm rigging this. Also, who are these other people? They're not in my group. I don't know these people. Yeah, see, I'm a single. As I just mentioned, I don't have friends. Look at that! It's me! I picked TriStorm. I wonder what other rides I've picked! Oh, man. I bet you I can go through the videos and, like, find me in every single queue line. Some of them, probably, definitely. I kind of do stick out like a sore thumb because, you know, I look like a freaking carrot, which was the whole purpose. I wonder how many other people on my Steam friend list have entered these parks as well. There's probably been a few. Anyone who's single, yeah. Because everyone who's on my Steam friends list isn't going to show up in a group. So probably some of these other people as well are on my friends list. And I don't know who they are. I could click them, but that might get awkward. Giving shout-outs to people. Anyway, it's really looking like it's going to be another TriStorm victory here. 450 guests in the park. Yeah, it's almost double the queue line. I feel like TriStorm's winning by even more this time around, which kind of saw that coming. Queue times are still 0 minutes, so that's still correct. Staff is not, or guests are not complaining about the queue times either, so that just proves it. Prices are free on both rides, and then the wait times are good. So there you have it. I say we call it here because there's no way Star Wheel, is that what it's called? Yeah, it's going to come back. TriStorm wins 2-0, moves on in the tournament. And there you have it. Our 3 winners for the day are the Aeronauts, Bumpin' Derby, and TriStorm. Next video, we'll see Weisshorn versus Blackout, Sundial versus Hyperspin, and Radius versus Psychola. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like, share video if you enjoyed. That helped a lot. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time.